Welcome back to HopeCoded.com. I'm Reverend Chris Hope, ordained minister, technologist, and educator at Boston University, Aspen Institute Fellow, and United Nations speaker on AI. In our last episode, we showed how foundations can use AI and quantum-inspired computing to rebalance their grant portfolios across program categories. If you haven't seen that episode, go watch it first on my YouTube. The link is in the description. Today, we go one level deeper because rebalancing a portfolio is only half the work. The harder question is this. Once you know how much to spend in each category, how do you decide which organizations actually receive the funds? That is what this episode is about. Let's get into it. What you'll see in this demo, before the demo, let me walk you through exactly what tools we are using and what you'll need. We are using the same 3 tools as episode 3, all free. The first is ChatGPT. We're using it here to do something more sophisticated than episode 1. We're asking it to generate equity scores across 3 dimensions for each organization in our data set. You access it at chat.openai.com. Free account required. The second is IBM Quantum Experience at quantum.ibm.com. Same free account and API token as episode 1. In this episode, we're using the Quantum Optimizer to distribute a fixed funding pool across 12 organizations in the most equitable way possible. The third is QuizKit running inside IBM Quantum Lab. Again, browser-based, nothing to install. To follow along, you would need your free ChatGPT and IBM Quantum accounts and a spreadsheet of grant applicants with their budget, location, leadership demographics, and any equity tags your foundation uses. One important note before we begin. Everything this workflow produces is a thinking tool, not a legal determination. Your foundation's counsel and program officers review every recommendation before any funding is made. You stay in charge. These tools only support your judgment. They do not replace it. Part 1. Here's what most foundations don't talk about publicly. Even when the portfolio looks balanced on paper, youth, housing, health, education, the organizations actually receiving the money often look very similar. Same size, same geography, same leadership profile, same grant writing capacity. Not because program officers are bad people, but because the tools foundations use to evaluate organizations were not built for equity. They were built for efficiency. A spreadsheet doesn't know that a small Black-led nonprofit in Roxbury does the same work as a large established organization in Back Bay, and often does it better with less. This is the gap we are going to close today. Generative AI and quantum-inspired tools can help foundations see past surface-level metrics and distribute funds in a way that is genuinely, measurably fair. Part 2. Equitable fund distribution means asking 3 questions about every organization you consider funding. Question 1. Impact per dollar. Not total budget, but how much measurable good does this organization produce per dollar invested? Question 2. Community proximity. How close is this organization to the people it serves? Are they led by people from that community? Are they trusted by that community? Question 3. Structural disadvantage. Has this organization been historically underfunded? Not because of performance, but because of who they are and where they work. Old tools answer question 1 pretty well. They almost never answer questions 2 and 3. The workflow you are about to see answers all 3 and weights them according to your foundation's own values. Part 3. Step 1. Build your organization data set. Watch as we open the spreadsheet. We have 12 organizations applying for funding in the youth category. Each has a budget, a program description, a geographic location, and a leadership demographic tag. This is your raw data. It looks like a normal grant tracking sheet, but we're going to use it very differently. Step 2. Ask ChatGPT to score for equity. Watch as we open ChatGPT and type the following. We have 12 youth-serving organizations applying for funding. We want to score each one across 3 dimensions: impact per dollar, community proximity, and structural disadvantage. Here's our data set. Please generate an equity score for each organization and explain your reasoning. The generative AI reads the data. It asks clarifying questions. How do you define community proximity? Do you want weight structural disadvantage more heavily than impact per dollar? You answer based on your foundation's values, and then it generates an equity score for each organization, ranked, explained, and transparent. Not a black box. Every score has a reason attached to it that your board can read, question, and override. Step 3. Run the distribution optimization in IBM Quantum Lab. Now we take those equity scores into IBM Quantum Lab. We have a fixed pool, $400,000 for the youth category. We need to distribute it across 12 organizations in a way that maximizes equity, not just funds the top score fully and moves on. Watch as QuizKit script runs inside IBM Quantum Lab. The quantum-inspired optimizer is exploring thousands of possible funding combinations and finding the one that produces the most equitable distribution while staying within the $400,000 cap. No combination gets explored twice. No bias gets introduced. The math is clean. Step 4. The result. The optimizer returns a recommended distribution. Watch as ChatGPT takes that result and writes a plain English funding memo for your board. Of the 12 applicants, 7 are recommended for funding. 3 are community proximate organizations that have been historically underfunded and show strong impact per dollar metrics. 2 are established organizations whose scale allows for efficient delivery. 2 are emerging organizations whose equity scores warrant investment as a strategic bet on future capacity. The remaining 5 applicants scored below threshold. Detailed reasoning for each is attached. This is a recommendation, not a decision. Your program officers review it. Your board approves it. You stay in charge. Part 4. Think about what this means for your foundation. When a community asks why one organization was funded and another was not, you have an answer. When your board asks whether your distribution reflects your equity commitments, you have evidence. When a donor asks whether their money is reaching the organizations that need it most, you have proof. This is not just about better grant making. This is about accountability at scale, built into the actual process itself. And it does not replace their program officers. It makes them even more powerful. It frees them from spreadsheet work and gives them a defensible foundation to stand on in every conversation about every grant. If this is the kind of grant making your foundation wants to move toward, I want to talk with you. Not a form and not a funnel. Just email me at chris@hopecoded.com and let's talk about what this could look like for your organization. We offer small pilot projects, tailored workshops, and customized demos built around your foundation's actual data and values. And if your board wants to see this live, we can bring the full demo to your entire team. Share this video with your executive director, your program officers, even your board chair. This conversation is worth having together, and how to utilize these emerging tools such as generative AI and quantum computing to maximize greater equitable giving. Thank you for watching. You're not just thinking about better grant making, you're thinking about what it means to be a foundation that actually lives its values. One decision, $1, and one community at a time. This has been Reverend Chris Hope from HopeCoded.com. See you soon.